Alright guys, so everyone seems to be bullish about agents, and for a good reason. Here we can see Dr. Andrew Ng, who is one of the most recognizable faces in AI, showing how even GPT 3.5 can outperform GPT 4 once used inside of an agentic workflow. And one of the best implementations of these agents has been through Autogen Studio, which is a tool that has been introduced by Microsoft, but today is widely viewed as one of the best tools out there to create agents. So today we are going to see three things. The first one is the building blocks of agents, and please do not skip this part because it's going to be very important, not only for this video, but for future videos where we're going to use other tools to create agents. The second part is going to see how we can install and start working with Autogen. And the third part is going to be a real world use case where we are going to see how to create these agents and bring them to life. So with that being said, let's start with the first part. So in Autogen Studio, there are four main components that we have to understand. The first one is skills, and skills are basically functions. In our example, it's going to be Python functions that you basically give an input to, and then you expect a certain output. For example, you can give it a certain prompt to create an image, and then you can expect that image to be saved on your machine as an output. The second components are models, and they are basically the models that we are already familiar with, either GPT-4 or Claude Sonnet or Mistral 7B, etc., etc. The third and most important components are agents. And agents basically contains skills and models inside of them, plus other things that we're going to talk about later on, but mainly skills and models, and they can take an input and then use a combination of the skills and the models in order to give you an output. And these agents basically make the unit that we will use inside of the fourth component, which is our workflows. And here there is something that is very important that we should understand, which is how are these workflows are going to be structured. In other words, how are these agents are going to talk to each other in order to give us an answer. And this is what we call conversational behaviors. The most fundamental conversation pattern is the two-agent chat, which is basically when we have two agents talking to each other. This has been illustrated in the documentation literally by showing two agents telling jokes to each other. The second conversation pattern is the sequential chat, which is basically when we have multiple sequence of two agents talking to each other, and then every discussion that we had with two agents is going to carry over the information into the next two-agent chat. And this is great for tasks that can be broken into clear subtasks that we can solve with every conversation between two agents. The third and probably the most important conversation pattern is the group chat, which is a more complex than just two agents or sequential chats. It involves multiple agents contributing to a single conversation thread. Think of it much like a werewolf game where you have a group moderator or an orchestrator basically is the one that's going to tell the people when to wake up and when to sleep, and is going to steer the conversations using different strategies that we are going to see later on. But this group chat manager is going to be the one to choose who's going to speak next. So going back to Autogen, this group chat manager is going to choose which agent is going to be the next to speak and how to carry over this information into the next agent in order for that next agent to perform the actions that it needs to perform. And the last type of conversational patterns, which is not really a different type, is a nested chat, is where we have a combination between all of these conversation patterns. So I understand this is getting a bit theoretical, but understanding there are conversation patterns is going to help us tremendously in order to know what example we are going to use later on. So enough theory, and let's jump to my screen and start using Autogen Studio. All right, finally we can open VS Studio and start working on our use case. So the first thing we are going to do is that we are going to create a new folder. We want to keep everything clean, so let's create a new folder and let's call it Autogen Demo. And then we are going to open that folder from here. Let's select the folder, and then the first thing that we are going to do is to create a new file. Let's call it app.py. We are going to see why later on. We are going to open the terminal from here. And then we are going to create a new virtual environment. We're going to do that by typing python-m virtual environment. Now that our virtual environments have been created, we are going to navigate to it. We're going to do that by typing vnv/scripts/activate. And now we are going to install Autogen Studio. pip install Autogen Studio, and then it's going to start installing, and it has finished. Very good. Let's clear this. Now, before launching Autogen Studio, there's something very important that we should do. We should basically use this command with our API key, of course, that we are going to get from openai.com API, and then inside of API keys, you can just generate a new API key, and then you can copy that API key and paste it inside of here. And we need to basically set that API key inside of our environment, because that will be very important later on. So let's do this. And now we have this API key that has been set inside of our environment. Okay, so now let's launch Autogen Studio. And to do this, we need the command Autogen Studio UI. And of course, we have Autogen Studio that has been launched successfully. So the use case that we are going to work on, it's not going to be the generic use case where we plot charts of Apple stock or two agents telling jokes to each other. It's going to be a real life use case that we can actually use it for businesses, and that hopefully can inspire you of seeing the potential of the projects that we can create with Autogen Studio. So let's go back to my screen. So our use case will involve reading an invoice through a skill. And then from there, we want our agents to basically know the relevant information in order to send a customized email to the customer, not only saying thank you for your purchase, but also making comments about the purchase itself. For example, here the customer have bought a PS5 plus other accessories. So we want our email to be about gaming and wishing the customer a good gaming experience with the setup that he has just bought. So this way, the business that will use this agent would have a better chance of keeping the brand in the minds of the customer, because the customer is not only going to receive a generative email that has nothing to do with the topic, it will receive a customized email according to their own purchase. So this is basically the use case. Read the invoice, keep the relevant data, and create an email customized to that person after they purchase the items. Now let's go back and start working. So the first thing that we are going to define are the skills. So the skill that we want to define is going to be reading the invoice. So read invoice. And inside of here, we are going to put this function. And this function, basically what it does is that it reads the invoice. So we are going to give it a path. I know we have a hard-coded path, but you can change this according to your own needs. After that, we are going to use the fits library in order to read the PDF, and then we are going to concatenate that PDF into a text that we will then print. So that is basically the read invoice skill that we have just created. Now we're going to go to models. And inside of models, we are going to go to GPT-4 1106 to define the API key. So the API key, we already have it here. We basically gonna get this API key. Of course, I'm going to revoke it later. And then we are going to paste it in here. And then we can click on test model just to make sure that the model is working correctly. Let's save this. Now we're gonna go to agents, and here we are going to create our agents. So we wanna have two agents, one to read the invoice and the second one to write the email. So we're going to start by creating a new agent, and we are going to name it read invoice. And inside of here of the agent description, we will just say read PDF invoice and print its content. And inside the system, we don't have to define anything, because this is a straightforward agent. And of course, for the skill, we are going to add the skill that we have just created, which is read invoice. Let's click on OK. And now we are going to create a new agent, which is write email. And here I've already defined. So for the description, we'll write customized email. And then for the system, I have defined a specific system message. So you're a helpful assistant that will write customized email. Your role is to generate customized email content based on the purchase data that you will receive. So that's basically the system message that we are going to pass. After that, We're not going to add any skill. We are going to keep the model as GPT-4, and then we're going to click on OK. Now we have both our agents, and we're going to go to workflow, where we are going to create the workflow, which is the thank you for your purchase workflow. So here we're going to click on the 3 dots, and we are going to select group chat. Inside of group chat, we will define the workflow name, which is customer email. And the workflow description will be thank you for your purchase. So we're going to keep the summary method as last to get always the last message from every agent. And inside of the receiver, we will select this, and then we will, of course, delete the primary and add the agents that we have. So the first agent that we are going to use is the first agent that we are going to add is going to be read invoice. The second one is going to be write email, and the third one is going to be user proxy. User proxy is very important because it's going to be the agent responsible for executing the code later on. We are going to keep the group chat name as group chat assistant. We're going to keep this at 8, and then we are going to keep the human input at never, and then we don't need to touch the other configurations. Let's click on OK. That is basically it. Now we will be able to click on OK, and we have our workflow that we have just created, and we can go now to Playground in order to start our first session. So here, let's create a new session, and let's choose customer email, and then let's click on create. And here I can ask it, let's say, read the invoice using read invoice agent, and then write a customized email for the customer using write email agent. So as you can see here, I'm defining the agent that it should use because there is no other mechanism that will force it to use a specific agent. So we don't have a drop-down menu or anything. This is why I'm telling it exactly what agents it should use in order to achieve each goal. Okay, so now let's click on send message. And here we have the error occurred processing message, API key is not present, or API key environments variable is not set basically. So as you can see, even I have used the command set OpenAI key to this value, which is our OpenAI key. Even though I have done that, it still haven't been able to add OpenAI key to its LLM config in order to use it later on. So this is a big problem. And a lot of people think that because you added the API key to the model, you should be just fine. That is not the case. You actually have to add it manually sometimes. And it took me some time to actually figure it out. So here, what we will do is that we will add a new file. Sorry, not here. We will add a new file here, .env. Let's go back here and let's stop Autogen. Let's clear the terminal. And here, what we will do first is that we are going to put OpenAI API key inside of the .env. And then the second thing we are going to do is pip install python.env inside of here. And then from there, we are going to run this little code inside of app.py, and this is why we have created it. So let's run it now, and let's see if we go back here to Playground, if it's going to work or not. Okay, of course, I have stopped the server, so let's run Autogen Studio UI. It's going to recreate it, relaunch it, and now we can go back here and copy this and then paste it. And we still have the same problem. Okay, so if this problem persists, we actually have to do a kind of advanced manipulation, which is going to be what I'm going to show you right now. Okay, in this case, what we are going to do, if this does not work for you, we have another way that we can solve this problem, which is Control-Shift-P if you are on Linux or Windows, or Command-Shift-P if you are on Mac. And what we are going to do is that we will look for Preferences, open workspace settings. So look for preferences, open workspace settings. Click here, and then from there, look for terminal dot integrated dot environment. If you are on Linux, choose this one. And if you are on Windows, choose this one, and then click on edit JSON. And then we should add our API key in here. So what we are going to do is that you are gonna go up, and then we are going to add our API key in here. And of course, this should be inside quotes. And this is the right syntax. Good. Okay, now let's basically close this terminal. Let's kill this terminal and let's open a new one. And now let's navigate to .env, to our virtual environments. And now let's run Autogen again. Okay, so this is our Autogen Studio. And let's run the query again and see what's going to happen. And finally, it is working. So before seeing the answer, I just wanted to quickly show you what is the output of the skill in order to have an idea what will be passed into the next agent from which it can create the email. So here I have my skill. And as you can see here, I have a problem with fits because it's not installed. So here I can just pip install fits. So now if we run our script, we can see that in the output, we will get basically the data that we have inside of our invoice. And that is basically what's going to be passed to write email. So let's go back and let's clear this. All right, so let's run Autogen Studio now. Okay, and let's create a new chat and let's copy what we have just asked here. Let's see what's gonna do right now. Of course, he has started. Let's go back and see what's going on in the backend. So here we have user proxy that have basically sent to group assistant the demand that we have asked. Here it will say that I will start by reading invoice, and then I will go ahead and basically use the right email. So it knew how to organize and with which agent it should start. Okay, so here we can see that it has basically sent back the code that we have here to user proxy in order for it to be able to execute the code. User proxy have successfully executed the code, and here we can see the output. And then this output will be passed to write email, and then it will basically write our email that we have here. And if we go back here, we can see that the agents only took 5 messages and 28 seconds to basically write the PDF and give us our answer that we have here. So let's see how good the answer is. So thank you for your PlayStation 5 purchase, Reda. I hope this message finds you well. We are thrilled that you have chosen our brand. 5% in selection of the PS5 along with dual wireless, etc., etc., etc. is a testament to your commitment to quality and immersive gaming experience. So this is the type of customization that we can have, because let's say if someone has a big shop and a lot of people are buying so many stuff online, you can basically customize this according to the items that the person have purchased. We understand that the world of gaming is not just about play, but about creating unforgettable moments, experiences with your new setup. We're confident that you'll not only enhance your photography business at Extra Frame, it has understood that it has actually a photography business, and it has made the link, but also enjoyed countless hours of entertainment. Your business is greatly appreciated, and we want to ensure that your experience, as a token of our gratitude, complimentary 1-year membership. Okay, so, okay, I think it went so far. So our exclusive gaming community, where you can connect with fellow enthusiasts and stay up to date with okay. So it did not promise any type of coupon or some kind of discount. I thought it did so. but it stayed in line and it did not hallucinate. So that's very good. And as you can see, the email will be 100% customizable and unique to every customer and to every invoice. So yeah, we have been able to create a real life use case where we have streamlined the thank you for your purchase process. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, drop a like and subscribe. It's really appreciated. And let me know if you want me to do other use cases or to work on other tools like Crew AI or other agentic workflow tools. Thank you for watching all the way through, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.